2014. I've only been doing the teacher trainings for 2 years. Certified about 60 people, not including half of you guys, including Amy and Bob. So it's growing. You know, it's still in its infancy. And I do like to keep the teacher trainings about 5 or 6 people, which is what we actually have here, not including Amy and Bob that are reviewing and assisting. So you get a personalized experience. It's a private training, really. You know, so I'm going to keep it that way for a little while, probably the next year. And then a lot of the training is going to transition to being online. And I'll just do like 4 events a year. That'll be like special in-person ones. So you guys came in at a really good time. So we're going to stand in front of the swing, put it behind the back, and let's come into our sumo squat. I want you guys to have your outlines, not the manual, but the outlines available for your visual sight. Okay, so we're going to start with yoga translations 1 through 4. Okay. You might want to turn a little bit more to the side, Kyra, instead of in front, just so the video is there, if you don't mind. Great. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay, so squats, lunges, back bends. This is the basis of all of our upright positions. Most of the yoga translations we're going to do today, with like a few exceptions towards the more, so as we go up in the numbers, it gets a little bit more advanced, right? These are going to be all upright positions. So we're not even going to really do inversions today. We're going to do a supported headstand, and we're going to do a big back bend, you want to call a bow pose. But besides that, this is the position. So the first thing I want you guys to do is to mess with your yoga mat. Make sure it feels like it's in a centered position. These were placed down by the yoga team this morning, so they're not exactly accurate. I usually come around and do all that. But we removed. So we want to be right in the center of the mat. So just so you can shift it a little bit so it feels right. I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to alignment. It does come in handy. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to test out our swings and make sure they're in a good place. For me to test the swing for you, you have to be completely dropping your hips. Not your shoulders. This is not it. This is what I call scarecrow. We want to get the swing underneath the bra strap, or whatever men call that place behind the heart. And then we want to deepen in the hip flexors. If you're doing this, I cannot tell where the swing is. It's this. Drop. My feet, pick them up. Then I know that you're right underneath your plumb line, first of all. I know that's hard. I'm not going to do that too long. And then gently place your feet down in front of you. With the knees at 45, with your knees at 90 degrees. Feet forward. So forward is this way. And then out. There you go. So this works. This is my communication. And then drop the hips. Right underneath the plumb line. Perfect, guys. So Amy's going to help me with some of the adjustments. You're pretty good. We wouldn't want your swing any lower than that. You can bring it up 1, but it's actually easier when it's lower. So Julia's going to be up 1. Heather's going to be up 1. Julie, you're pretty good. Can you walk your feet forward so it's a 90-degree angle? Bob, you're perfect back there. Okay, great. So everyone else can just stay where they are unless they need a break. Go ahead and grab another carabiner, move it up 1. So stand on your tippy toes and then put the swing up as high as you can. Up here. I'll just match the one that I have because I don't have that too. You're not down. Try the next one. Yeah. So yeah. See now? No. Try again. They have to be the same, guys. So if you're not, so don't do that. That doesn't work. So step back, Julie. Step back with me. See, now you can see. It's like, close. Close. That's going to happen. So we live in this imperfect world. I make the swings as perfect as possible, but then we have like the room and then this and that. So there's like lots of moving parts, but that looks good. All right, if you pull them together, you're not going to be able to tell. Okay. But if you step back and look, that's usually how I do it. Because sometimes I'll be like, wait a second, like they're not going to be exactly perfect just because of the ropes and things like that, but we're going to get them as close as we can. You guys see what I mean?
Yeah, this one's a little.
Just slightly, the same with this one. It could be the whole house. This is actually pretty level compared to some places. So the same thing here. So come in front of me for a second, honey, take a look. So you'll notice one is definitely higher than the other, right? So, and everybody's on this side, isn't that funny? So
it is.
It has to, it's probably the beam. or all the ropes were like that on one side.
Yeah, I like
So we just decided if we want to bring it up or down. I'm going to just have you bring that one side up since it was kind of low. So borrow the chair.
Yes.
So this is the first thing we do. That's great. Pull your shoulders down your back. That's perfect. Yeah. So normally what we would do is we would make sure that the carabiners are even for everybody. Like I'm going to teach you like you're teaching a class, right? So carabiners have to be even, leg loops have to be even. So I'm going to bring her leg loops up one. Everybody else's leg loops are fine. But if we bring the swing up one, we bring the leg loops up one. You guys are good.
These are really even, but they are on the same loop.
Yeah, like I said, it's an imperfect world for somebody who's so perfectionistic. This is pretty close, actually. So if you want to measure it, see? It's pretty close. So that's just the way it's going to be. But yeah, when it's really off, that's when we really have to be concerned. So just bring the one up, not both of them.
Oh, just the.
Yeah, just the one, because that one was too low.
Okay.
Yeah, back like that. Yeah. Go ahead and try the other one. It might be a little too high for you then, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, so when we have so many moving parts, we just adjust it until it's comfortable. That's the way that I usually make my decisions. It's like, okay, let's get it behind the back. Let's all try it one more time. We're always going to put the step stools and everything all the way to the corners. Since we have flying limbs and everything like that, we want to make sure we get everything out of the way so that we have a clear space. The same with water bottles, particularly glass water bottles, everything to the edges of the room. Just a little FYI. They'll drop all the way. Keep your feet up. There you go. Put them down in front of you. Yeah, that's just about right. Okay. Feels good? If it's higher, it's harder. Just so you know. You can be up, but you wouldn't be down. You see how there's like a little bit of play? So Julie, get used to this deepening in the hip flexors. I know it's a little different, but we're going to turn our pubic bone down towards the ground. So this is turning your pubic bone up. So I want you to lengthen from your belly button to your pubic bone so we get all this space in the front of the body. Really nice. Feet turned out to 45 degrees. Walk them all the way forward, front of the mat. Otherwise, you're going to be pushing back, and then you'll have this big swing when we go to do some of the poses. Sounds good? Okay, so just from here, I want you to get used to your shoulders. So do a few shoulder shrugs. Okay? So I want you to just feel the difference between engaged and relaxed in the shoulders. Try a forearm press if you need to take pressure off the back. Beautiful, guys. Okay. So when you sink down, you'll feel the swing slide up. If that happens, it's okay. What we're going to do is press back, straight legs. Come into a supported back bend. Get the swing below the brow line, okay, behind the heart, and then come back into the forearm press and sit down. So in a beginner class, this is the #1 thing that you're going to hear people complain about or notice. It's going to be very sensational because nobody hangs by their underarms, ever, and it's a sensitive part of the body. From an energetic standpoint, we're working with the heart energy. We're working with the lungs, the hormones, the lymphatics, the small intestine. There's a lot of energy lines that go through the underarms that are very sensitive for people. Okay, so we want to be aware and compassionate towards the amount of energetic release that's happening with the body in such an easy way. Just hanging by the underarms. No one's ever thought of it for some reason, right? So go ahead and do a few more shoulder shrugs. I want you to just push into the swing. Keep your hips level. Hips do not move. Push into the swing and let your upper thoracics arch. Yeah. Like exaggerate the extension and the traction. That's beautiful. Just drop the hips the entire time. It's going to be really different. See how your hips and your upper body are kind of connected? I want you to isolate the upper body so the lower body doesn't move. Just the upper body. Yeah, just that. It's not a big movement. Right? If we push the hips up, we're going to lose the yummy sensation of the spine tractioning out of the pelvis, creating space in between the vertebrae. So Amy, your swing can be up one if you like. Okay? Yeah, if you go past the knees, that's not necessarily where we want to be.
Scarecrow. I see you.
Yeah. So when you see people, when you see, it's great to practice together because when you see other people do that, you're like, oh, that kind of looks funny, right? But then when you see somebody like really engaged but relaxed, it looks like it feels good. It's like, oh, my body wants that. Right, so now what we're going to do, again, just working really slowly to begin, because we're pretending like we're beginners, right? How are we going to teach beginners? We're going to go back into our beginner's mind. We're just going to gently rock from side to side. So in every pose that we're learning today, these are just cues, real simple cues. Circles, side to side twists. Okay? So we're doing kind of all of those at once here. We're doing little baby semicircles. We're going side to side, and then we're twisting. So notice that there's a big difference between this and this. So what I want to do is start to loosen up all of this tightness that's in the pelvis. So I'm going to bring, let's all do it the same side. Let's bring the right knee forward, left knee back. So leave your pelvis where it is. Come on back. Let's try it again. Drop. Walk your feet forward. Okay, right angle. So push the knee forward, pull the right knee back. So not in. So come. So everyone bring your hands to your knees. It's sometimes helpful even though it's intense. Just pull the right knee forward and left knee back. Push your pubic bone under. Push your pubic bone under. Come back through center. I know.
Is this same to
Nope, it's fine. You just have to drop your hips. Yeah. So it's just a tiny little micro movement here. It's like belly dancing, but in the swing. Okay? If our hips are locked, this is a really weird thing to do. And people have a hard time getting it. So that's why I like using my hands. And I'm going to let one knee come forward and the other knee come back. There you go. And you're shifting the pelvis. This starts to loosen up all that stickiness because the pelvis is a floating mechanism. Nothing is holding it in place except the muscles and connective tissue, but it's locked in for most people. And so they'll move like this, right? They'll move their whole body. So what we're going to do is start to isolate the upper thoracics and isolate the whole iliac crest, the whole hip joint. Pretty amazing, huh? So you can actually drop your hips more and then just shift back. Doesn't that feel different? Starting to get it? All right, let's take a break. So every time we need a break, you can usually tell by people's faces, or just every 30 seconds. This is called chillaxin arms. So in chillaxin, we're going to clasp our hands behind our head. We're going to let the elbows flare out wide. So this initiation into blossoming the chest up towards the sky. So open up in that gesture of receptivity. Let the heart kiss the sky. So right now, we are pushing into our feet, so we have a strong foundation. Straight legs if you can, Heather. Okay, so no pain in the upper back, right? No pain in the lower back. If anybody has pain, let me know. So this is a supported back bend without crunching the lower back. So we're actually on a diagonal. So even though you're going to be looking at me every once in a while to check it out, then I want you to sink your head back and really let your heart lift. So heart-centered practice. Now the other thing that we can do from here are just real gentle micro movements. We're going to keep undulating the spine. It's like a side body stretch. We're going to pretend like we're bringing the elbow to the knee. So let's start right elbow to right knee, just not too far. So keep length in both sides of the torso, and then come through center, left elbow to left knee. Yeah, it's more of a gesture. We're not even going to come close. Okay, just tiny micro movements from side to side like that. Legs straight for now. Enjoy the support of the back bend. I do this every single day and I can still feel the tension in the rhomboids and the upper thoracics. You guys feel that space behind the heart? Yeah. That stickiness? So it takes a while to undo that posturing. We are so used to initiating our back bends from the lower back and crunching the lumbar spine, and I just have to tell you it doesn't like it. My lower back is never happy when I do that. Okay, so we're going to come back through center. Inhale, open the arms wide, and exhale, and just bend the knees and drop in. Hook immediately. Yes. So this is so different now. Our upper body is nice and engaged, and our lower body is dropped. We're going to just start to find that space.
So if there's a tinge in the lower back, if someone's doing it, ask them to use their legs more or what?
Well, there's so many different things that you can do. You can bring your arms more up on a diagonal than back. It's usually the amount of extension back that will actually compress the lumbar spine. So you can actually drop your knees and drop your hips and make it really small. But if you get full extension and press the hips up towards the sky, it actually creates more space for the lower back.
Yeah.
So with the knees bent, it actually can crunch the lower back more than with straight legs.